Okay, here's our first section on editing within Premiere, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of review, but I will also show you some new pieces involved too. We're going to start off real simple with some edits, and then we're going to move forward and to really put together a movie. For this particular unit, we're going to use a couple of different lessons. So, kind of be familiar going back to Premiere and saying, I want to open up a different project, or we're very rarely going to use a new project, although I've covered preferences and settings before. So, all right, let's get going. So we're going to open up a project. So I'm going to click open project. I'm going to move over to my Premiere Lessons Lesson 5 folder, and we're going to start off right away with Lesson 0501. Give that a minute. I know when we started talking about creating videos, the term storyboard came up. And the cool thing about Premiere, what Premiere does extremely well, is it steps you through that video creation process, where the storyboard is one of the first things you do when you decide that you're going to make a movie. You're going to actually try to draw some of these things out. So Premiere uses that kind of concept in terms of when you've got a movie that you're getting ready to do. I'm just going to kind of make a couple of these screens a little bit bigger. My real estate is a little small on the video. I apologize for that. You probably want to go full screen if you're watching this in like a YouTube or something like that. As you know, if you've worked with Premiere, this is a very busy desktop, so you're going to see me move palettes from time to time and resize quite a bit, and then come down here and I'll change the timeline size from time to time as well. All right, so Project 5.1 already lists a bunch of assets here. You got medieval, hero, villain, wide. We've got a logo here, a movie logo, and we've already got our first sequence here as well too. So set up pretty well for us, and we've already imported these assets for the project that we're about to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the storyboard idea. What we can do is we can use the bins in order to create a storyboard piece. So I'm going to create a new bin, and I'm going to call it storyboard. And in order to use this as a bin or a storyboard bin, I am basically going to double click on the storyboard. And I'm going to drag that over, and it opens up in its own window. And I am going to grab everything from everything in the asset panel with the exception of the sequence. Obviously, we don't want the sequence in there. So you're going to grab 6 video clips and then the Photoshop file that's called movie logo. And I'm going to drag those into the bin. Okay, you'll notice that obviously they get taken from the project panel and put just in the storyboard bin. This may not be a good idea, so I'm gonna undo, and instead of dragging them right into the storyboard folder, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna copy, and I'll tell you why I'm gonna do this in a second. Then I'm gonna paste them into the bin. That way, I know it looks like in my project window I've got 2 sets of the same things, but in all essence, the reason I'm doing that is so that I can mess around with the storyboard bin, and be okay and not ruin my original. It's kind of similar to Photoshop, where you'd create a layer first, do some changes to the layer, and then so that you don't affect the original as you move forward. So let's look at the storyboard bin here real quick. We're going to change the way we look at things. First things first, I don't like the fact that they're just names. I want to actually see, you can use the storyboard bin as a way to preview these videos as well. So if you go up in the top right corner, there's a menu up there. I'm going to click on that menu and I'm going to say view icon. Now you see the actual video clips as they lay out. And I'm also going to change the thumbnail size too. We're going to bump that up to large, so you can actually see some of these clips. And each of these clips you can actually click on in the bin and you can play. And they'll play for you up above. I know the video screen's a little small, but you understand the idea. You can actually see what the video clip is. And here's how I would create my storyboard. I can move these clips in any way I'd want. Maybe obviously I might want the movie logo at the beginning, so I'll just drag that up. I'm going to pull the wide down. And let's say I'm going to have, we probably want to see our hero first. So I'm going to pull up medieval hero 1. And then maybe the villain will get introduced. And you can see how this happens. You can just kind of organize your clips in a way that you're going to be okay using it with the storyboard. Let's go villain 2, villain 3 probably aren't going to work out together. So we'll go villain 1, and then we'll go villain 2, and then we'll go hero 2, and then villain 3. So something like that. Again, don't pay too much attention to what I'm doing here. just trying to create what I would think would be a story. Notice that we've got some director shields in here and some clips that we're going to need to edit, and obviously that's the goal of the unit, so we'll move into that a little bit later. But so I look at this and I say, okay, we got pretty much a story going on. If I go down below, you will see some tools down here, and if in Photoshop, I'm sorry, Premiere is just like anything else. You can actually just hover over each of these buttons and you will see exactly what each button does. Alright, so once I have my storyboard in order, I'm going to highlight, shift click everything in that storyboard bin, and I'm going to click on the Automate to Sequence tool, which will allow me to push all of these video clips into the timeline. And you've got some options here: ordering, selection order, you can do the sort order. Not so worried about that, but the placement I want as sequentially, which will put them in the order that I've got them in the bin. Overlay edits and those kinds of things we'll talk about a little bit later. Automatically, you're going to overlap each of these clips by 30 frames. You can change this number if you don't want any overlap. You would just put 0 in there. And they've also got this idea of default transitions for both audio and video. If I wanted to just input the audio, I would ignore video. If I wanted to just import video, I would ignore the audio. So you get that idea. So I'm going to click off on both. I'll show you the defaults in a quick second. So I go ahead and I click OK and watch what happens in the timeline here. It takes a few seconds. And I'm going to close this storyboard clip. And you'll notice your timeline is filled with all of your clips and all of your audio. As I scroll through this, all of the clips got posted in the order that you put them in the storyboard. And if I really kind of delve into this timeline, expand it quite a bit to see, you'll see that each of these audios and all of these transitions were placed in there too. Notice the beginning, we've got the Photoshop file with the logo, and then the hero with a cross dissolve right before. So pretty cool piece with that Automate the Sequence. 9 times out of 10 you're probably gonna want to edit out of the source monitor and then pull the clips down. But if you have a good idea as to the way the story is going to go, that storyboard philosophy and using the Automate the Sequence is a pretty good deal.